We welcome in NewsmaxTV political analyst and presidential strategist and best-selling author of Power Grab, Obama's Dangerous Plan for a One-Party Nation. Good to see you, Dick.
Have you ever been to Bismarck?
No, but it's too cold for me there, I think. Have you?
Yeah, I have.
Anyway, so let's start with the news that Donald Trump has clinched the nomination and some of the things he might have said today. What do you make of him wanting to debate Bernie Sanders if that ever comes off in a big arena for a $10 million charity donation with tens of millions watching? Isn't the big loser Hillary?
Yeah, it is, and it's brilliant. But I was disappointed that he put a price tag on it. I think that he should do it for free, and I think that it'll be a very good thing for him. They'll both stand there dumping on Hillary all night long, and Hillary has some tough problems. You know, the amazing thing about Sanders is that he has sworn off all of the issues that could be effective against Hillary. He won't talk about her damn emails. He won't talk about Benghazi. He won't talk about the stuff that really would be pay dirt, whereas Trump certainly is willing to do that. And if Trump were there criticizing Hillary, Bernie would pretty well have to join in the criticism. He's not going to stand there defending her. It would be good to watch that.
Yeah, no, I would love to watch it. I think that would be phenomenal.
Yep.
Also, Paul Manafort was quoted as saying that there's probably no minorities and or women on the VP list, and the pick probably will not be a minority or a woman. And Donald Trump responded. Could we skip to 109? And let me play you some of what Donald Trump had to say about that.
We're looking for absolute competence. I fully expect that we will have many women involved with, not only, I mean, I've had it with the campaign, but we're going to have many women involved, and I think that you're going to see that, and you're going to see that very strongly. So I look forward to it, and I know he was misquoted a couple of times. He's been misquoted actually a lot.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't think Manafort would have said it or even implied it if maybe he didn't know something. Do you think that it would be a bad move not to pick a minority, or does it matter?
Well, I think that Trump should pick a woman because the accusation is that he doesn't get along with women and that he doesn't value them and that he's misogynist and all of that. And if he picked a woman, the very spectacle of him standing up there and saluting the crowd with her and waving together and saying good things about her, I think could be very good. I think that in that relationship between the president and the vice president, people would see a rebuttal to Hillary's charges about Trump not being in favor of women.
Do you have anybody on your list or your mind? Because I always said Suzanne Martinez, and of course it doesn't look like that's going to ever happen. So who would you think would be someone that he maybe should pick?
I would have said Susanna Martinez too, and he's obviously not going to do that. Nikki Haley would be a good possibility.
Although they didn't get along either for a while. Yeah.
But I think she would be a good possibility. I think Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee would be good. I think there are a host of pretty good choices. Joni Ernst from Iowa would be good.
Right.
You just have to be sure that they can handle that kind of pressure, so it doesn't become another kind of Sarah Palin.
Let me ask you, you broke some news regarding Hillary and the Inspector General's report yesterday. You found something that was kind of buried in that State Department report about Hillary. And we all know the main facts that came out, but you found that somebody with no security clearance actually operated Hillary's email server.
Yeah, there's a guy, was buried in the report, and Eileen, my wife, ferreted it out. There's a guy named Justin Cooper, who has been a longtime associate of Bill Clinton's. He was the deputy, in effect, chief of staff for Clinton after he left office. And then when Doug Band left, he took his job and became Bill Clinton's chief aide. And it turns out that he was one of those responsible for monitoring and maintaining and indeed registering Hillary's private email server. And there was a guy named Brian Pagliano we've all known about. Right. But apparently he was just one of the two. The other one was Justin Cooper. And what's unique about that is Cooper has no security clearance. He doesn't work for the State Department. He doesn't even work for the government. He works for Teneo, the private consulting firm Bill Clinton set up, and the Clinton Foundation. So he's no security clearance. And he had access to every single email either sent by or received by the Secretary of State of the United States for 4 years. All of it, every one of it. Now, did he close his eyes or did he keep them open and read them all? And then you go back to Hillary's statement a few days ago, and not statement, but in an email that she sent, where she said the reason that she maintained the private server was because she did not want her emails to be, quote, accessible.
Right.
So Hillary had a choice. Would she conceal the emails from the American media or from the Russians and the Chinese? And she chose to conceal it from the American media at the risk of exposing it to the Russians and the Chinese. And Teneo, the company that this guy works for, is a consulting firm that represents foreign countries, foreign dictators, foreign companies. And he's in possession of secure information and at the same time going out and pitching these companies to hire them to represent them. What a conflict of interest and what a potential for exposure of American secrets.
It is reprehensible. And, she was out there today, once again, using the same old line, Dick, in the last minute we have left in this segment before we take the calls in the next. She's basically saying, I just did what everybody else did and it was allowed. She's not changing her tune.
Yeah, well, everybody else did. When Colin Powell used private server, it was because the State Department server only worked for State Department employees. If you wanted to email anyone who didn't work for the State Department,
right,
had to use a private server.
Yeah.
That isn't the case now.
Yeah.
The point is that this woman endangered national security. You tell me what's the difference between Petraeus letting his girlfriend see his classified material and Hillary letting Justin Cooper see.
Absolutely no difference. All right, much more with Dick Morris, but an entire segment with your calls, folks, at 877 Newsmax, 877-639-7629. Get on board. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with Dick Morris, Newsmax TV political analyst, presidential strategist, and of course, best-selling author of Power Grab. There it is on your screen, Obama's dangerous plan for a one-party nation. 877 Newsmax, 877-639-7629. Let's get to the phones. First up, Mary Rose from Melrose Park, Illinois. Hi, Mary Rose.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Dick.
Hey, Mary. How are you
And
doing?
a shout out to Michael. Thank you. I have to disagree with Dick as far as a woman vice president because I don't think Donald Trump has any problem with women. As far as the polls, they poll 100,000 people maybe. How did he get elected? Was it all men? No.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's true, but that of course was in the Republican primary, and in the general electorate you meet a lot of other people. And it would help him if he were able to bridge the gap with the gender, because he's at the moment running about 12 points behind among women, but 22 points ahead among men.
Yeah.
So it's got some catching up to do.
Yeah, Mary Rose, look, I'm not a big fan of some polls either, but these polls are, whatever the sample is, are scientifically done. So, you could say you'd rather have 10,000 than 1,000, but it is, these are done on a scientific basis. But I'm with Dick. I think it would benefit. I don't think he should do it to pander and to desperately pick a woman, but I think it couldn't hurt, as they say.
He said he would pick, the best that he thought, whether it be. And also, did you hear of the house that he is purchasing in Washington?
You mean he being Barack Obama? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, a half a block from the mosque. So this way, I believe he could pray every day.
Well, you could pray every day no matter where he purchases a house. Go ahead, Dick.
I have an interesting thought that Mary Rose's question brings to my mind. In the past, when we speak of a gender gap, what we usually mean is that women who vote differently from men because of special concerns they have as women, abortion and equal pay and child care and stuff like that. Here you're having a situation where men are voting different from women because of special concerns that men have. This is the first time the men have created a gender gap because of issues like losing their jobs, wage stagnation, manufacturing jobs leaving the country, competition from illegal immigrant workers, are all creating a level of male grievance that is leading to men creating a gender gap. The first time that's happened.
Very interesting, absolutely. Mary Rose, I thank you very much. Let's go to Sarasota, Florida next and say hello to Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hey, hi, Steve. Love your show and love Mr. Morris. I got this book from you guys.
Great, thank you.
I'm a bit of a cynic, and I just think that maybe this email stuff that has just come up recently, the Inspector General and all that, I think Obama is slowly letting his dogs out of the pen to throw Hillary under the bus, mainly because our ratings are going down, 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 and they're nervous about losing the White House, and they'll pick out somebody like Biden or somebody to come in there and save the day, even Bolshevik Bernie, because he's got better ratings than she does. So I think that maybe she might be going to jail, not because she's guilty, but because her ratings are going down.
Well, Dick, what about the? I've read stories where this is orchestrated by Obama, the release of this report. Does he have anything to do with the release of this report, the timing?
No, I think that what John said made sense months ago. I think that 4 or 5 months ago, Obama was not unhappy with negative stories about Hillary and her emails. In fact, I think he was pretty mad at her about having the email server in the first place. I think now he's stuck with her as the Democratic nominee, and he wants her to win, if only because he wants Trump to lose. And I think that this is not something that he wants.
And Bill, thank you very much for the call. I want to pick up on Obama, Dick, if I may. He was in Japan today, and there used to be this rule that you don't talk politics overseas, but Obama's thrown all that into the trash to the point where he trashed Trump again today overseas, this time in Japan. Let's listen.
I think it's fair to say that they are surprised by the Republican nominee. They are not sure how seriously to take some of his pronouncements, but they're rattled by him, and for good reason, because a lot of the proposals that he's made display either ignorance of world affairs or a cavalier attitude, or
talking about the foreign leaders that he's been meeting with. And then Trump responded today this way.
He used the bad word because he knows nothing about business. When you rattle someone, that's good, because many of the world, as you know, many of the countries in our world, a beautiful world, have been absolutely abusing us and taking advantage of us. So if they're rattled in a friendly way, we're going to have great relationships with these countries. But if they're rattled in a friendly way, that's a good thing, John, not a bad thing.
So what do you think about the statement by Obama and the response from Trump?
Well, the most specific thing that probably refers to is his proposal to allow Japan, or to encourage Japan to get nuclear weapons and consider South Korea as well. And I've always felt that that made sense. I've always felt that China will not take us seriously on the issue of deterring North Korea until we threaten to give Japan the bomb. Because ultimately what scares the hell out of the Chinese more than anything else is Japan. And they kind of figure they can handle the United States, but they're very worried about Japan because of that history. And I think that it makes very little sense for the United States to be taking the place of Japan on this and saying we are the ones that you have to listen to. Whereas, in fact, the country that's most directly affected, South Korea and Japan, the countries, themselves could be very effective in providing a deterrent to North Korea. I think I could see a situation where Japan and South Korea basically say to China and North Korea, look, if North Korea gives up its nuclear weapons, we will not develop them. But if they insist on developing nuclear weapons, exploding them, and doing missile tests, We will develop in self-defense our own nuclear arsenal. Once that happens, China has to make North Korea back down.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a very innovative proposal Trump made.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's go to Frank in Fort Myers, Florida. Hello, Frank. You're on with Steve and Dick Morris.
Hey, Frank.
Hello, hello, Steve, and your guest, Mr. Morris.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Very good power grab. Very good. I don't have the book, but I've seen the infomercial on it.
Well, go
What I
get the
wanted
book,
to say-
Frank. Go get the book.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get it. Mr. Morris, I think he's the most intelligent analyst that you have there.
Well,
I mean,
you could,
really,
you could actually
very,
tell
very
that
good
to
head on his shoulder.
you could tell that to Dick himself. He's right there. Go ahead, Dick.
Hey, how you doing?
On your shoulders to come up with that whole scenario. It's like fantastic. My head almost fell off thinking about the issues in the book. I will get the book, but what I wanted to say is that as far as world leaders being rattled, this is to me a perfect reflection of 36 years ago. 36 years ago, when Jimmy Carter lost to Ronald Reagan, the world leaders were rattled. I mean, fantastically rattled, because there's nothing wrong with America that can't be fixed. It's the leaders that don't let the dynamic people of the United States accomplish their missions. It's
Right.
the leader. And as far as the vice president...
Well, let's say, Frank,
Frank,
let's stick to that. Dick, that's interesting. Usually the analogies we hear, when Reagan took over, we hear so much about the economy and Reaganomics and how it got us out of what Jimmy Carter left, 18% interest rates, et cetera. But what about any analogy to be made between the state of the world and foreign affairs today compared to Carter and then Reagan?
Yeah, I think that's a great metaphor. Reagan was terrible. Because he was against arms control, he was against reining in nuclear weapons, he wanted to spend more, and then it turned out that when we followed his policies, Russia fell apart, and the goal of the peace people, of avoiding nuclear war, suddenly became achieved. That was actually when I became more of a Republican than a Democrat, when I saw how wrong I was about that. But let me just say a word about the underlying question of being rattled. Right after World War II, the United States and the rest of the world reached an agreement, in effect. The U.S. was so strong and so powerful and so much more dominant than any other country that we said, it's okay, we'll take a lot of refugees and immigrants into the United States to make sure that there's no explosion. Right. We'll buy more of your products.
We got 30 seconds, Dick, so go ahead.
Out of poverty. Now Trump is saying no more. We can't do that anymore.
Right.
We're one country among many, and we have got to take care of our own people first. So naturally, these other countries are rattled because the free ride is coming to an end.
Right. That's not a good thing. That's not a bad thing for us here. It's of a concern to them there. Dick, great to talk to you, sir. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, and of course, the book Power Grab. If you don't have it, go get it. Stacey Washington and Noah Rothman up next. More of your calls, and John Bachman.